Hi everyone, and welcome to another book review. So this one is for women in art. This is 50 Fearless Creatives Who Inspired the World. This was written and illustrated by Rachel Ignotofsky. I'm sure I said that wrong. So this is the second book by this particular artist and creator that I have read. She also wrote Women in Science. That one I gave 5 stars, really enjoyed. This one I gave 4 stars, so I still enjoyed it, but not as much as the one in Silence. And partly because, well, mostly because it's art. I love art and like looking at art, but I don't understand it because it's so subjective and it's up to so much interpretation, and that is what I struggle with. Because then it's like, oh, am I looking at this right? What's their meaning? Do they really care if I'm not seeing it the way that they created it and things like that? So ultimately I give this 4 stars. It was still very interesting. So what I like about this particular book, she has another one that's about women in sports. And so that one I look forward to as well. So you've got an image that she draws of this particular woman that's made an impact, whatever the impact is, in art. And so she's got little sentences kind of throughout this part of like a quote from the person generally, at the bottom of the page, which that was really cool. But yeah, so she just draws kind of them doing their art. And then this next page is, there's some snippets about the person's life on the sides. The top here has their name and their years that they lived. So like this particular person was a poet and a painter and lived from 1262 to 1319. And so then it just kind of states where they were born, kind of what the influence was, what and what their life was like, where they, you know, why they created what, sometimes why they created what they created, if it was politically motivated or racially motivated or just because of a love of the art. I mean, either way, they love doing what they're doing and how they found this love. So that, it was very interesting. So you have a lot of that. Like, okay, so here's another one. So, you know, you have designers, you have painters, you have people doing photography, you have people sculpting. This one's Dorothea Lange, and she was a photographer from 1895 to 1965. So you just have a bunch of that. Now, there are some pages in here that don't have this stuff. You have one that's about like the stats of women in... Like this one, it's the statistics in art of like women versus the men, of how what's showcased and what they're paid, and things like that. So that was kind of interesting. And I don't know, and just their life. It's like some of them lose their eyesight and they can't create what they want to create. Some of these people are still living, like Maya Lin. This is an architect and sculptor and a designer born in 1959, but then there's nothing after the date, so this person's still living, at least when this book was written and published in 2019. So I don't know, I did find it very interesting. Art, I think, is wonderful to look at, but I struggle with interpreting art. And so for me, I enjoyed it. It was interesting. I enjoyed reading about these. Some of these women lived openly as lesbian when it was very much a risk to their lives, or openly bi. You have one woman in here that made an impact. I can't even remember what. Let me see if I can find it real quick. She made an impact. I want to say, was she an architect? I can't really remember, but anyway. What was her name? I don't even remember. Was it Mary? No. I don't even remember. But basically this person like lived as a woman but was born male, and finally came out and was so afraid of coming out as transgender that it was hidden for a long time, and she just lived as a woman. But when she did finally kind of say, you know what, I was born a man, but I identify as woman, I am transgender, she was so afraid of being ridiculed and people starting to hate her work. Wendy, that's what it was. So Wendy Carlos. Wendy was actually I'm not even going to say the name because I know that that's disrespectful to say the dead name. But it is mentioned in here of what they were born as. But one thing that I absolutely liked about Wendy Carlos is this little snippet saying she loves cats and loves just drawing her pets. I thought that was very sweet. So Wendy was a composer and eclipse photographer born in 1939. Yeah, so, and it does mention on that page the name that she was given at birth. So, I don't know, I just found it interesting, and I think this is geared towards girls to know that you can make a difference in art. It doesn't have to be so, like, you don't have to think of it as a male-dominated. You have all these people that made significant strides in the field of art that were women. And you can be one of these women too, to change something, to view something differently, to make that impact. And so it is geared towards, I think, young girls to kind of inspire them. And so I think, I don't know, this was good. It was very interesting. I just preferred the science one because of how my mind works. So there you go. So if you're looking for that, 50, yes, Women in Art, 50 Fearless Creatives Who Inspired the World. So that's going to be it for this particular review. So until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I'll talk to you later.